During gaming's fifth generation, almost everyone compared a 3D fighter to Tekken, especially when those games didn't feature Hadoukens and fatalities. What seemed to be a more accessible version of Virtua Fighter, Dead or Alive had the gameplay foundation that would create impressive sequels featuring the defensive-minded succeeding, thanks to proper timing and educating themselves in regards to combos that could juggle an opponent against a nearby wall, that could result in one-sided affairs or impressive comebacks. After 4 sequels and various spin-offs, the promise of DOA 6 taking a more serious approach is definitely obvious from a gameplay perspective, but don't expect anyone's sensibility to change when it comes to jiggle physics when playing this iteration. Sticking to the format seen in previous entries, DOA 6 offers a lot for the player to take part in, from a single-player aspect, including a branching story mode that features a lack of background for those who haven't kept up with the franchise's lore, stereotypical bad acting, and a single fight per character that culminates in a battle against an overpowered boss, with the player potentially controlling someone they're unfamiliar with utilizing. The story will take about 3 hours to complete. Beyond the typical arcade, survival, and time attack modes is DOA Quest, a companion to the game's extensive tutorial options that features the player taking control of a certain character to complete 3 objectives, with the reward being gold currency and clothing points to unlock and purchase a plethora of items, including new costumes for every available character. The grind is on to complete DOA Quest and the training center's command sequences, but the appeal of playing online has definitely prevented those goals from being completed. Led by Virtua Fighter, the genre of 3D fighters features a litany of classic games and stupendous franchises, with Dead or Alive fitting in both categories. Dedicated gamers who understand that the DOA series is more than just gravity-defying breast have long enjoyed the simplicity that each game has offered, topped by defensive mechanisms that can turn the tides in a heartbeat. Aggressive players may run into a properly timed block or guard that creates a counterattack, like Tina arm-dragging an opponent. Throws are incredibly potent, with certain characters being able to chain throws together when an adversary goes from vertical to horizontal upon impact. Though strikes can be countered, they aren't devalued, as a majority of the elementary combos for each character is incredibly fast and closes the distance nicely. The biggest addition to both offensive and defensive methods in this iteration is the Fatal Rush. Underneath the character's health is a break gauge bar that fills up 2 segments as the character lands and takes attacks. Tapping the Fatal Rush button for a successful attack will cause a critical stun on an opponent that can be used as an opening for an extensive combo, or, at the expense of both bars in the break gauge, a special combo topped by a grandiose attack. Fatal Rush also benefits the defensive-minded player, as a properly timed tap of the button associated with Fatal Rush, as well as the moving of the analog stick in the opposite direction of their opponent, will have a character slip behind their aggressor. Like its predecessors, DOA 6 is perfect for beginners and returning players alike. From an offline perspective, this game provides a good amount of content to keep players busy, including a story mode that forgoes the typical linear approach games like Injustice 2 or even Tekken 7 adopted when presenting their games' plot, in favor of a more branching format. DOA 6's story is messy in execution and mostly forgettable, with each story fight lasting only a round, making it pretty much impossible to get the hang of a character without extra work outside of the story itself. Thankfully, the mode doesn't ask much of the player, but DOA Quest does, as it requires the player to complete 300 tasks across 100 missions, in an effort to gain clothing points and gold. DOA Quest is a nice melding of character training and grinding, though doesn't outdo the quality of the game's extensive training mode. There are also typical single-player modes for players to quickly get into the action, including arcade and survival modes. Online is a mixed bag. On the positive side, online competition is highly enjoyable, with even weaker connections rarely being laggy or timing out. When given the option of playing someone, the game actually shows their connection quality, including if they're wired or wireless. Unfortunately, ranked is the only option of playing online right now, as the game features no lobbies, player mode, or anything else to make it easier for friends looking to play online. Outside of local play, it's pretty much impossible to play this game with a friend. DOA fans who enjoy the costume variety available for every character will be highly disappointed, considering the drip feed nature of costume points issued in both offline and online. Even more disheartening is the fact that these points are randomized in nature, meaning a player may not get the points necessary for the character's costumes they play with the most. DOA 6 seems to be working with the same template as the previous entry, as DOA 5 had multiple season passes before the final collective edition was released, meaning to get everything in the game could take years and hundreds of dollars. Solely on the gameplay, DOA 6 is a blast with a great roster, easy to pick up controls, and modes aplenty. But the handling of online options and costume unlocking definitely hurts the overall appeal of a game built on fast action and fan service. Dead or Alive fans, no matter the generation, will be hard pressed to dislike this game when it's time to throw down. The gameplay remains fluid, satisfying, and most importantly, accessible, without sacrificing the extensive combo and defensive systems. But the want to play with friends online and unlocking all the costumes really makes what should be an overall fun experience disheartening. If you're a player who doesn't care about playing with friends or accessorizing characters, but just wants to punch a demon girl in the face with a drunkard, this game is for you. For others who enjoy the fan service the franchise is known for, it may be wiser to wait for the inevitable complete edition, as this version will feel like a big butt slamming against your face in comparison.